And I suppose what it all comes back to is, what is the most important thing in our role? And when I say our role, I'm talking about most of us in this room are probably involved in coaching or training or monitoring or physiology or biomechanics. And I think, if we sit back and say, what is the most important thing? And it's actually pretty simple. It's the athlete. And providing the athlete with the resource and the information to help that particular athlete get better in areas he or she needs to get better in. And this isn't groundbreaking information. We've got 6 pillars of development, and most of us use some sort of system like this. And I suppose what we try to ensure doesn't happen is we try to ensure that we're not working in silos. So we don't have the conditioning coaches, the strength and conditioning coaches working in isolation in the gym. They're just tucked away there trying to get people stronger, okay? And we try not to have our nutritionists in the back room trying to work on how you're eating. We try and make sure we all work together to help this athlete in areas of need. And I think that's something that the science has fallen behind that in our perspective, or in our world, is we keep it in the background to help bring all that together and guide the athlete to ensure that he or she is getting what they need to be the best they can be on Saturday. And this comes back to when we talk about big rocks. In New Zealand, one of our big rocks is integration. So for me, I work with the All Blacks, and I'm essentially by myself in the strength and conditioning area and the performance area. And so I integrate with the teams our athletes are with. So before I came here yesterday, I was with the Crusaders for a few days and just immersed with them, just talking, just catching up with people and integrating within their campaign. Likewise, we have integration within the teams and across the levels of play. So we're very lucky that we have a really good development pathway going from our school age players through to the All Blacks. And there's not really any gaps. We have secondary schools, we have under 17s and under 20s, we got our provincial competition, and then we have our professional competition, which flows into the All Blacks. So this is a really big rock for us, and we believe that that's something that will continue to be a focus for us going forward. And finally, the question I'll leave with you is, we were talking about sports science and we're talking about psychology, which again, people haven't mentioned too much. Mental skills. It's easier to sweat, is the term we use. It's easier to sweat and run around with a GPS monitor saying run faster and run longer. But it's far more difficult to work on the things that help you in the heat of the battle. Like challenging your peers, leading your team, and creating a culture. And it was tapped on earlier, which I was pleased, because at the end of the day, where are you going to have the biggest effect? Where are you going to have the biggest effect? Thank you.
Thanks, Nick. Again, we've probably got time for one really quick question. I am conscious of time, but the presentations seem to be going pretty well and have some good information in them, so I think it's worthwhile following up if there are any quick questions. Nick?
Hi, Nick. You mentioned that your lack of resources. My understanding is that's not always been the case, given your reasonably well-documented salivary hormonal program, etc. Has there been a conscious decision at a high level to adopt a more conservative approach to your sports science program? Or is that merely your philosophy?
Good question. I wasn't directly involved in that program. I was involved at the periphery, but essentially it came back to the questions of what were we getting out of the information coming from the saliva? And was it helping us change what we were doing or helping us do what we were doing better? And when we sat back and asked that question and looked at the investment required and the resource required, it was judged that it wasn't actually changing what we were doing. There was no impact on our program.
Okay, thanks, Nick.